Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, this is Vegas Nation Game Day. Presented by D&R House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in the One Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Vegas Nation Game Day. I'm your host, Cassie Soto. Can you believe that Week 13 of the NFL season is upon us? The 6-5 Raiders are preparing to host the 5-6 Washington football team at Allegiant Stadium on Sunday. Let's get to our opening drive, brought to you by Capriotti's. There's no better time than game time to score party favorites. Order online to get Capriotti's party trays, box lunches, or large subs for the whole crew. Raiders beat writer Vinny Bonsignore here with me. Vinny, I'm sure the Raiders will be riding the adrenaline rush of beating the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, but they will likely be down a weapon for this next one. Star tight end Darren Waller was injured in Dallas. What do we know about his injury and possible long-term effects?
Well, long-term effects, not quite sure just yet. He is listed as week to week. It doesn't look like he's going to play this week. That's not for sure at this point, but he wasn't out at practice on Wednesday or Thursday, so that's usually a bad sign. Now, the Raiders have had experience playing without Darren Waller. Remember, they beat the Philadelphia Eagles without him about a month or so ago, so they're prepared to play without him. The key is that it doesn't become a long-term issue. There's no doubt for the Raiders to get where they want to get to this year, and that's the playoffs, they're going to have number 83 out there.
Well, with that, it's likely that Foster Moreau will need to step up. He's got 3 touchdowns on the season so far, and this is a guy who wasn't utilized very much last year. I believe he was battling some injuries. How do you see him creating a bigger role for himself?
Yeah, and he was coming off a serious knee injury that he suffered toward the end of 2019, and it lingered into 2020. And so the Raiders kind of treated him with a little bit of kid gloves. That was one of the reasons why they added Jason Witten to the mix last year to kind of help Foster bridge the gap between the injury and getting back healthy. But he's somebody that they certainly can rely on, somebody that's certainly shown that he can provide production in big plays. You mentioned the 3 touchdowns. But more than anything, really getting Deshaun Jackson back or acclimated to what they're doing. As we saw against the Dallas Cowboys, it really opened the field for everybody. Deshaun, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller when he was healthy, Josh Jacobs in the run game. So you go on, and everything kind of clicks when the Raiders are successful in taking shots downfield.
Vinny, I'll be honest, I didn't think the Raiders were going to get the win in Dallas, but I do believe they are a better team than Washington. What's going to be the key to a victory on Sunday?
The same exact keys that it's been all year long, including the Thursday win against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. The Raiders just have to play efficient football, clean football. When they do that, they can play with anybody, and they've shown that multiple times this year. It's when they start shooting themselves in the foot, careless mistakes, dumb penalties, turnovers. When they start doing those type of things, they're not good enough to win games. But guess what? Neither are the Los Angeles Rams or anybody else that plays like that when they're self-inflicting wounds. When the Raiders are clean and efficient, they're capable of beating anybody, and I would expect that they can do that against the Washington football team. But if they come out and play the way they did against the Giants, the way they did against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Flip the Field, brought to you by Pirate Plumbing, the masters of disasters. Hey everyone, it's Heidi Fang here, and I'm joined with our Review Journal sports columnist Ed Graney, and it's time to flip the field and take a look at the Washington football team. We have to start with the NFC East standings, Ed. Washington football team is on a 3-game win streak, threatening those Dallas Cowboys who've lost 2 straight. What do you make of the streak that the Washington football team has put together?
You know what, Heidi, the main thing is Taylor Heineke's growth as a quarterback. I don't know if he's a week-to-week starter long-term in this league, but he's been really good of late. Whether he is beyond 2021, who knows? So Taylor Heineke's growth. The other thing is, despite a lot of injuries in the offensive line, their front has been very, very good these last 3 games, and it's paying off. All these guys, these backups and guys who've had to play and fill holes have been very good on the offensive line. You go to the other side of the ball, their defense has allowed 279 yards per game since week 10. You and I both know coming into the season, Washington was supposed to have one of the league's best defenses. It didn't work out that way. But recently, it's been pretty good. So those are the things I think that have kind of helped lead to this 3-game win streak.
Lastly, Ed, I can't help but notice a guy named Jack Del Rio has been the defensive play caller for the Washington football team. He happens to know a thing or two about Derek Carr. How tailored do you expect his plan to be to hamper anything that Derek Carr does on the field.
I mean, who knows Derek Carr better than Jack Del Rio? I think they'll lean heavily on Jack Del Rio's experience, his knowledge of the Raiders. I know it's different. John Gruden was here for a few years, things changed, but he knows tendencies of Derek Carr. He knows how Derek Carr plays. It would be silly of the Washington football team not to lean on Jack Del Rio heavily this week in terms of preparing for the Raiders, what Derek Carr is good at, what Derek Carr is bad at, and try to exploit the latter.
Great stuff as always. Thanks, Ed.
The Raiders snapped their 3-game losing streak on Thanksgiving by resurrecting their passing offense against the Dallas Cowboys, and suddenly quarterback Derek Carr is back on track for a career year. Carr leads the NFL with 3,414 yards passing and is on track to eclipse the 5,000-yard mark for the first time in his 8-year NFL tenure. He also cracked the 30,000 career yard mark last week to become the 5th quarterback in NFL history to reach that plateau in his first 5 seasons. Carr also needs 22 completions to eclipse 300 this season and become the 2nd quarterback to do so in each of his first 8 seasons, joining Peyton Manning. He has a prime opportunity to bolster his statistics Sunday against a Washington football team that rates as one of the NFL's worst against the pass. Opposing quarterbacks this year have thrown for a league-high 26 touchdowns against Washington while totaling a mere 6 interceptions. Washington also allows 266.6 passing yards per game, 3rd most in the NFL this season, and quarterbacks have compiled a passer rating of 106.4 this season. Only the New York Jets allow a superior rating. That bodes well for Carr, who leads the NFL with 31 big-time throws and ranks 2nd with a big-time throw percentage of 7.5, according to Pro Football Focus. The Raiders are 6-0 this season when he tops 300 passing yards and 0-5 when he doesn't. He's averaging 330 passing yards per game against NFC East competition this season. And another marquee outing would serve Las Vegas well as it jockeys for playoff position in the AFC. I'm Sam Gordon, and that's the story by the numbers.
DNR House of Diamonds is Las Vegas's elite private office jeweler, the perfect bridge between internet pricing and a traditional brick-and-mortar jewelry store. We specialize in loose diamonds, natural and lab-grown, engagement rings, fashion jewelry, custom design, and jewelry repairs. We operate by appointment in our beautiful offices in the One Summerlin building, downtown Summerlin. Our great relationships with the world's largest diamond wholesalers and our low overhead saves you hundreds, if not thousands, on your purchase.
Vegas Nation Game Day Live. The latest Raiders game day news on VegasNation.com 90 minutes before kickoff. Vegas Nation Game Day Live. Sponsored by South Point Sportsbook. Download the app at southpointsports.com. Vegas Nation Injury Brief. Sponsored by Not the Injury Law.
Star tight end Darren Waller doubtful for Sunday's game against Washington football team. That's the headline of your injury report. I'm Adam Hill. Josh Jacobs got banged up during practice this week. He will enter the game with a questionable tag with that ankle injury. That is certainly one to monitor. Looks like he'll probably try to go, but what kind of usage will he have on Sunday, I think, is a fair question to ask. In addition to Darren Waller being doubtful, we're just going to go ahead and say he's not going to be playing. Big role coming up for Foster Moreau on the tight end side of things for the Raiders. On the defensive side, Carl Nassib will not play. He got banged up, and he is not going to be available for the Raiders this week. But Keyshawn Nixon with his ankle injury and Nick Kwiatkowski with his ankle injury, they may be back. They were practicing this week. They're trending toward finally playing. And Deshaun Jackson, he had a practice off this week. He was also limited. They listed him with a calf injury. He said it was just a spasm. Doesn't sound overly concerned about it. It was also his birthday, so he may have just been taking a little bit of a birthday week this week during practice for the Raiders. I expect him to be good to go on Sunday. Trayvon Mullen, there was some optimism that he could return. He, of course, got hurt early in the season against the Chargers the first week of October. Some optimism, as I said, that he may return, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Probably going to have to wait for next week for the return of starting cornerback Trayvon Mullen. But that's pretty much it for the injuries going in to Sunday's game against the Washington football team. With your injury report, I'm Adam Hill. Check out Vegas Nation for all of your Raiders coverage.
Vegas Nation Fan Zone. Sponsored by your Southern Nevada Toyota dealers. Toyota. Let's go places.
This is Kevin Cannon out at Allegiant Stadium. You know, the Raiders have fans from all over, and they all drive to Las Vegas, some in some pretty cool cars.
This car was bought in Cochran and Sully back in 1956. My uncle bought it. I ended up with the car and painted it black, put Raider Nation on there and just added a little touch here. Worked all my life, and now I'm like a little kid in a candy store and just representing my team.
And I love what I do for the nation. I love the Raiders, and this is more than just football. This is life.
Did a lot of people honk at you on the freeway?
They do. I have a train horn on this as well, so you can hear me from a mile away. So you can hear. Why is that necessary? Sorry, folks.
Decorated my car to celebrate the tailgate and the Raiders. Been doing it for about 16 years. I have a passion. It's hard for me to miss. I feel pulled to be part of the Raider Nation.
And every flag you see here, except what's on the hood, is a different flag. None of them are the same. And then we just put our Raider helmet up. Just keep adding every time we come to something else new. Because I'm a huge Raider fan and I want everybody to know it.
We don't play no games, man.
That's a wrap for this week's Vegas Nation Game Day, but please join us at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday as we bring you the latest news heading into the Raiders' Week 13 matchup versus the Washington football team. For our entire crew here, I'm Cassie Soto. We'll see you on Sunday.
Vegas Nation Game Day, presented by DNR House of Diamonds, making luxury affordable. Located in a 1 Summerlin building in downtown Summerlin.